Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a quick and easy string change on a STRAT style bridge here. It's a simple process and quite basic, but maybe you've never done it before or wondering how to do it. People are getting into the guitar game every single day, getting new guitars, their first guitars every single day. And if you don't know how to change strings, maybe you just want to see somebody do it. So I'm going to show you how I do it, walk you through it. And like I said, it's going to be easy and you'll just have a better understanding on the other side, especially if this is your first time seeing it done. We've had some questions. I'll address common things as I go along, that practices and tips and stuff that I've picked up over the years. Haven't done this now hundreds and hundreds of times on all sorts of guitars. Like I said, this is a kind of a fixed STRAT style bridge. There is a whammy bar, so it can wham a little bit there, but that doesn't matter. If it didn't move at all, it's going to be the same process. This is a string through design. The strings go through the back of the guitar and then come right up through here, the saddles, and we'll pop them in and get it going. If you're interested in string changing on Floyd Rose or other type of bridge, Evertune, Tune-O-Matic, stuff like that, I have plenty of videos in my string changing series and guitar maintenance playlist. Link for you in the description below. But we're gonna do this one, and it's gonna be easy. I got my strings, I got my string winder, cutters. I think that's all we're really gonna need, maybe a little polish, so we'll get that going. Okay, so there's a few ways you can do it. You could do it string by string. So for instance, if I took off this 6th string here, the E string, the thickest one, then I could just replace it. And I could do it like that. And that's pretty much how I do it most times. But in this case, I'm gonna take all the strings off, and you can certainly do it this way as well. And what that does for me is I'll do that maybe once every 4 or 5 string changes, because then it gives me greater access to the nooks and crannies of this thing, and I can get in there and clean it up a little bit. And that's what I like to do. So the first step in this process, by taking them all off, you do the same thing if you were doing them one at a time. You just do it one at a time. But since I'm taking them all off, just gonna loosen them up a little bit. This particular guitar happens to have what's called locking tuners as opposed to non-locking tuners. And I'll describe what they are in both methods for whatever scenario you're in, whether you have locking or not. So those are loose enough now like that where I can easily, I'm just gonna cut them right here. You could do this, or you could unwind them fully from the tuners there, or you could cut them up there, whatever. I'm just doing it like this. And then I'm just gonna push these through like that. Sometimes a couple of them need a little coaxing. Once they're through there, should be able to grab them on the other side, or they'll just fall out. Got them. There they are. So that was the ball end. The ball gets stuck underneath there as it comes through, and it's what keeps it in place. We'll get into that as we put the new ones in. Now up here, because these are locking, if these were regular tuners and they weren't locking, and how you can identify that, you see this particular one, these are called Spurzl locking tuners, and these turn down here like this, and I'm just gonna loosen those up. And how that works is, so let's just say that these are the tuning pegs here. So let's say the tuning peg is like this, and there's a little hole in there, and the string's gonna go through there, and then you start turning the tuning knob, the tuner there, and it wraps around and brings it to tension. And that's how you do it with a normal, regular tuner. You just wrap around, tighten it up. But the locking tuner, so here's that peg, it has the hole, but it has that other thing on the bottom, and as you turn that, it has a little post that comes up and it clamps the string in there. So you don't have to wrap around the tuner at all, but I'm gonna show you both methods. But because this has the locking tuners, I unlock them a little bit, and now I'll be able to pull them out. If you don't have locking, you just unwind it here, and they'll pull right out, like that. If I hadn't loosened the locking tuners there, that wouldn't pull out because the post is clamping the string in there. That'll make a little more sense once I actually put the new strings on, and I'll explain more. Right now, you don't really need to worry about it, but taking your strings off is one of the steps that some people, if you don't know how to do it for the first time, it's nice to see it done and have it explained. So now that all the strings are off here, I'm gonna give it just a quick little wipe down. This is my new favorite polish, Guitar One, Music Nomad. Great company, great products. Another sick product here I talk about at every opportunity is the tool there. Like let's say I still have the strings on, I could get under the strings like that, you know? You can get into the nooks and crannies. It also comes with another little guy. Where are you? This guy here. So in this set, comes with both these tools. You can get in there, you can get on here, and all those guys like that. And with the string, even with the strings were still on, it just makes life so much easier. This brush I love, I use all the time, just to brush the dust. We'll do that as the last step. But because all the strings are off, it's really easy to just get in there like this, the old-fashioned way. I'll have a link to the Nomad music tool and their polishes in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. I like to go like this with my fretboard up here. And my favorite part of cleaning the guitar is this part right here. Just getting along the neck there, getting it all buttery smooth, I should say. Don't forget your sides. And I believe a clean guitar is a happy guitar, and it just plays just a little bit better. So with that done, we can move on. Install the strings, stretch them out, get them tuned up, and we'll be ready to go. So like I was saying, just a little dust pieces that were left behind, maybe from the cloth, you know, or whatever. I love this little brush guy. Get those off of there. And we are ready. Okay, got some strings here. These are some String Joy 10 through 48. You can use whatever you like. I usually 99% of the time, I use 11 through 52, but I play in drop C, which is a lower tuning, but this guitar is an E standard, so I'll just use 10s on this. So, you know what? I usually like to start with the thickest. And make sure if you get these out of order, make sure you know what you're doing. So I always keep them in order, and I just flip. What I did was it came out of the package like this, and they're in order from lightest to heaviest. Here is a 10, 14, 24, 30, 38, and a 48. So I just turned it over. I'm gonna grab my thickest string, the 48. It's an important thing to pay attention to. Unravel it. Now here's that ball end that, remember, like we talked about earlier, is gonna, when we put it through here, so this is my 6th string here, and when I turn this over, it's gonna be the furthest one from me. So I just find this hole, work it through there, feel it around till it goes in. Come on. There we go. Comes through, pull it through, and you see the ball there. Oop. The ball there is gonna go in, and that's what, now it's stuck there in place. My saddle straight. Make sure my string's seated in the middle of the saddle there. Not so important right now because it's gonna move around, but as we're getting it tightened down, you wanna make sure it's seated properly in your saddle. I'm gonna come up here, same thing. Okay, so now here, make sure we could see that. Good. Here's what I was talking about. With the locking tuner, right here, as I tighten this down, inside the little hole right there, there's a little post that's down right now. So it allows me to put the string through the hole. But as I tighten this, that post raises and it's gonna clamp down on the string. So I get the hole so it's facing me. It's a little trick I always like, to get the hole facing me, because it's easier than putting it in this way or from behind or whatever. So it's in there like that. And if you have locking tuners, you can get it pretty much right in position how it's supposed to be with no slack. And you can tighten this down. That post is gonna clamp down on it. I bend this up so it's out of the way a little bit from my remaining strings, because I cut these off at the very end. I keep them on for now, but to get them out of the way, I bend them up. Now I'm gonna turn this, and the direction you wanna have it, I like to have them going this way. Each headstock is different. Sometimes they're split. You know, you have 3 on this side, your 6th, 5th, and 4th, and 3 on this side. So in that case, you want them wrapped around like that as you're going on that side, and like this on this side. On this one, we're gonna keep them all going the same way. So just to keep consistency, you wouldn't wanna have one wrapped around this way. See how I'm wrapping around that way like that? and you wouldn't want to have this one going around that way and everything. It's just messed up. Keep everything consistent. Now, rather than taking this off right now, I'm going to show you the non-locking tuner method on the next string, just so we don't take this off, because we already got it on there. I'm just gonna bring it up to a little bit of attention here. I like to keep this pushed down as I'm doing it. It helps get a nice wrap going. Okay, we got that. Our locking tuner is tight. Our wrap looks super nice. And that's pretty good to go. There's no reason to just tune it yet, but I do like to give it a nice stretch. Look at that, ooh, it popped. And that's common. It popped. It didn't break or anything, but that tension I had on there was relieved. So now I'm gonna push a little bit of pressure there near the saddle. I'm gonna use this hand to lift up, and my thumb pushes down. So saddle there, I keep it down so it isn't wobbling all over the place or moving around. That keeps it down like that. Put my underneath, use my thumb, push, 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 push here above the nut, tune up a little bit more. And each time you do this, it's gonna stretch it and the pitch will detune a little bit. And the more you do this, the less it'll stretch and the easier everything will tune up during the final process. See, each time I do this, the stretching is lessened if you listen to the pitch. Barely have to tune it at all there. And I'm gonna do that throughout. And then basically by the time I get to the first string, I'm gonna do each one every time. And by the time I get to the first string, the guitar will be ready to tune, and it'll stay in tune, and there'll be no need to really stretch anything out. It'll be ready to play right away. Whereas if I hadn't gone through the stretching process, then as I'm playing, it'll just keep detuning as the strings are naturally stretching out. So pre-stretching like this is a great practice. Let's move on to the fifth. And again, on this one, I'm gonna show you the non-locking tuner method. I am going to eventually lock it, but I'm just gonna show you what's going on. So fifth string, remember as we go here, it's gonna be now the second furthest away from me, depending on which way you turn the guitar over. So right here, our fifth string, goes through, grab it. You might have a bridge where the strings just come in through the back of the bridge, through the saddle. Same concept, this just happens to be a string through the body. If you have a Floyd Rose, it doesn't go through the body. It locks into the saddle, but again, that's another topic, another video. So same thing, we're seated well there. You come up here. Okay, so now in this case, I'm gonna get the hole, like I said, so it's facing me. Now here's what I would do if I were to wrap this not using the locking tuner, which is basically just not using the post to lock it down. But I'm gonna go around the side in the direction that I want the wrap to go, so to the right, just like the sixth string. I'm gonna go around once, keeping everything kind of tight, and then I go through the hole and have it come out the other side on top of this part. So the string I just put through the hole is on top of the string that I wrapped around. If it wasn't, it would just come right off. Something like that. I'm gonna pull it, holding this down, bringing it through, making sure I'm not tangled. Now in this case, I want a little bit of slack there. See, I'm holding this up, but I'm pushing down here, keeping it down. Like remember I said, I like to hold down here, but I'm also giving myself a little bit of slack there by holding this up. So it's kind of just a technique you need to get used to. Bend that up so it's out of the way, and start tightening. Now I did it that way, and now I can still lock this tuner, and it's still locked. So easy either way, okay? Man, these are long strings. All right, we're good there. Stretch. Got really loose, look at that. Like I said. You could also have your tuner going the whole time and gets you a little closer the whole time if you're keeping an eye on it. You know what tuning you want to be in. For instance, E. It's going to change as tension comes across the entire guitar as we keep adding strings. So it isn't worth getting it perfect, but just in the ballpark. E. This one we want to be an A. Good. So now watch when I stretch this, that A is going to drop quite a bit. Remember above the nut too, give that a couple pushes. See, look at that, it already dropped to an F sharp. So a whole step and a half. Back up, might give the E another little guy. Good. Next one. All right, we're gonna get in cruise control now. We got the technique down. Flip, put through the third hole. Okay. What fell? This fell. All right. Winder. So now I'm just gonna go back to the locking method just because it's way easier, you know, than having to do that wrap. Or should I show you another one? So you can see again? I will. Again, seat in the saddle, up here. I'm gonna go around, keep it to the side that all my wraps are going. See, all my wraps are to the right of the tuners in this case. So it's gonna be the same way. Holding it kind of tight, around like this. Hold it down there. Through, so it comes out on top of the string that I wrapped around. Pulling it through, like this. Give myself a little bit of slack there. Push down here. So I'm holding it down on the headstock, but I'm pulling up above the fretboard a little bit there. And pull this, bend it up. Here we go. And I have a beautiful wrap. Professional wrap there. And I can tighten my locking tuner. And then the next ones, I'm just gonna use the locking method for those of you who have locking tuners. And now that you've seen how that's done, stretch. Looking for a D. Stretch. Yep, just popped a little bit. So it's gonna be way lower than a D. So all this is normal, and which is why we do the stretch. A big reason why we do stretch, I should say. And like I said, with each string, I'm gonna go back and do these ones again too. Give them a little how's your father, you know? Okay, E. And every time I do that, they'll stretch a little less, like I said. Okay. All right, you got the hang of it now, right? The third one, yeah, I'm on the fourth, okay. Good. Okay, get the eye hole facing me. Okay. Now what I gotta do is just go right through it. You can pull it. So it's cool. We don't really need any additional slack. Lock it down. So what the locking tuners do is just makes your life easier. Just makes it quicker and a little easier than doing that wrap. They're unnecessary, but it's just nice. Here we are at a G. Give it a stretch. I like a wound G, which this is. And the thinner strings always require less stretching, which is nice. Do 6, 5, and 4 as well. This way, when we get done, the whole guitar is going to be pretty much in tune, all stretched out, ready to play. Of course, we'll give it a final tuning. Okay, 2 more. I know I said I always cut these off at the end. And my reasoning for that is because something could go wrong. Maybe I need to loosen it. Maybe I crossed something somewhere and I need to loosen it. So it's like a fail safe. It gives you some room to work with. But these are exceptionally long strings. So I can just cut them here. Just gonna tidy things up, make it a little bit easier, but still keeping them on there. All right, second string. Now this one, there's a little string tree there. Actually, I'm not sure if that's what it's called on this particular thing. A lot of time with Floyd Roses, This is the string tree. And it just helps keep the strings at the proper angle over past the nut there. So I don't think that this is called a tree, maybe string retainer. But so yeah, we're gonna wanna make sure we get under that for the first and second string. Get my eye hole facing me. Oh. Okay, so make sure it's under my, I'm just gonna call it the retainer for right now. Like that. I guarantee some dick's gonna be like, dude, you're doing a string changing video and you don't even know what that little thing's called there? So I'm beating you to it, bro. I'm a Floyd guy. Sorry I didn't know what that little particular thing was called. Okay, last one. We are almost there, guys, and a couple quick tips at the end. And we'll get you out of here. Go put a fresh set on your own. In my opinion, fresh strings always feel great and they're inspiring. Because they feel great, you want to play them, they feel good. A lot of times you cook some sweet riffs, or your riffs or licks will sound better. And I think that is what good guitar playing is all about. Just where your equipment feels good, and so you're inspired to play, whether it's your own stuff or doing some covers or just playing some riffs, some Metallica riffs, whatever, you know? If your guitar has problems, doesn't stay in tune, broken string, you're simply not going to want to play it. What happened there? So yeah, things pop, but we're still in business. Okay. All right, so that was all good. Everything's tightened down there. I feel good about clipping these off now. So what I do is I like to bend them down as much as I can so that when I make the cut part is facing downward and not up to cut you. It can still happen, but, and then I used to worry about this, but now I cut them pretty close, and I'll use my wire cutters here to just kind of dull that down, only so I don't cut myself. So push that down, get it out of the way a little bit. Okay, we're in business there. One final step before our final tuning, and we'll give it a strum, make sure everything's cool. I don't know if you guys saw, but I'll link it somewhere, but I just did a video on this guitar where it had a bunch of string buzz, and I took care of it by adjusting the truss rod and stuff. And look, we got fresh strings on here right now. No buzz at all. Not even on that one that was troublesome. So it could just be old strings sometimes too getting me trouble. But right now, we're sounding good there. I do this step, watch this. So I always put the date that I changed the strings, and the gauge is on there. Gauge is on there, so I remember. Maybe you haven't changed your strings in 3 years or 6 months or 8 months, or you just don't know because you don't remember how long ago it was. But if you put the date on there that you changed the strings, you know how long ago it was and how old the strings are. Also what gauge you used if you're trying out different stuff. A lot of time I'll put the brand on there too, because I believe in using the same brand and same gauges when it comes to Floyd Rose bridges, because it just helps with tuning stability. I like to use white gaff tape, but you can use whatever you've got. Masking tape, painter's tape. And I just cover up the old ones. That was kind of a shiesty job there. Hold on, that was a little. Here we go. Okay. Today's date is 6/30/25, 10 through 48, SJ. String Joy. All right. Done there. Flip her back. One more stretch, one more tune, one more strum. Dunzo. Okay. See how easy and close we are right now because of all that preliminary work we did during the change. And a lot of that reasoning is because I was playing on stage every night for a decade. And, my techs, we'd implement this method so that the guitars were ready for that night, because I like to let a guitar sit overnight and then it's in the best tune the next day because it's truly just sat and stretched itself out and kind of acclimated to the temperature in the room and just everything like that, But you don't have that luxury if you're on the road in a different city every single day and you're having your strings changed every single day. So the more preliminary work you can do stretching, just the more it's gonna stay in tune for the performance that night or for whatever you got going on. Tricks of the trade. Nice. We're in business. No buzzing. Perfect. Line position. No buzzing. Excellent. I hope you guys dug that. Again, check out my guitar maintenance playlist where I've got all sorts of stuff, every way to take care of your guitar that you need to. Truss rod, Floyd's, Evertunes, cleaning, cleaning frets, all sorts of things. Every scenario you got, check it out. I'll be able to help you. If you found this helpful, please let me know by hitting that like button and making sure you subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a video. You can check out my wonderful Patreon community and my guitar instructional DVD if you're interested. Thanks so much again for watching. I'm Rob Arnold. Good luck. Tear it up, man. I'll see you on the next one.